minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. Stand by.
How about that?
Okay, everybody, we have liftoff. That is a fact. Okay, thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining us on the RP show, and we are ready to rock and roll. I can sit here for 2 hours and just read the comments that have come in from everybody. As we have, what did Kevin say? The energy is alive today. The hills are alive with the sound of music. How about that? Coming up on the program today, Captain Lou from Captain Extravaganza, Lou from Michigan. We're ready to rock and roll with the pro day. Corey, you are guiding me in my ear here as we rock and roll as the spaceship rounds the moon. Are we good to go? I'm just going to talk. I'm going to roll, and Corey, you stick with me. Yeah. Okay. If there's an issue, we can fix it in the first break with us, everybody. Okay. Quick 6 show topics here. And by the way, we're going to get to the National Hockey League right out of the gate. We're going to get to MLB. We're going to get to ironic is cable the question. And Corey, if you tell me if we need to like throw up a graphic or something, I know that it's a little choppy here to switch devices. Tell me. Okay. He says we're going to run this until the commercial break and then make a decision on switching devices after that, but we're good. So I invite everybody to write in. Thank you for sticking with us, the Rod Squad. You never abandon me. You always have my. Brent in Saskatoon says, welcome, Rod. I never went. Here I am. So just stick with me in this opening segment. And as I said off the top, Lou Gamelin is from the Captain Lou Extravaganza down there in Michigan with a lot of exciting things. Good news and bad on the Michigan sports scene, and Lou is a very, very good artist. So we got the weather coming in on Ohm in Winnipeg. Ohm says tons of snow in Winterpeg. Cutting into my season. Hey, bro, I get it. W from Edmonton writes in, he says, the earth stopped rotating for force. I think that's very possible. Tony from Calgary writes in, and Cochrane, where the hell is he? How about that? Yeah. Ryan in upstate New York, appreciate all you do for the show, Sky Cron. Yeah, he's talking to producer Corey. We're getting this ship off the air. As he said, it's an aircraft carrier. It's kind of a big deal. So listen, I'm going to stop with the Mickey Mouse. And as I said, it's the warm-up brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel and Neil Chark. By the way, you're probably going to hear this a couple of times today to the point ad nauseum, and you're going to be but that trip to Toronto sold out. So thank you to the Rod Squad, to our viewers, for being a part of that. Heading down to Toronto to catch a couple of Yanks games and a Tabbies game. It's sold out. And when we were talking with Neil Chark from Uniglobe Travel about this a couple of weeks back, I said, we'll have this sold out by the end of April. You sold it out in a week. So thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. They're going to continue to bring you the warm-up. And I'm going to tell you right now, and by the way, this little choppy freezing on right now will not continue after the first break. So just bear with me, bear with us. Thank you for your patience. The opening topic that I want to talk about is the National Hockey League from Tuesday night, which, by the way, that's my big story. I don't know about I see John from Edmonton writes in and he says, blame the Florida Panthers for not making the playoffs this year for the tech issues yesterday and today. Well, them making the playoffs is going about as well within their end in South Florida as the tech issues that we're having. In both cases, happens. In both cases, stuff happens. So you all don't have to worry about the Panthers in the playoffs this year. But thank you, John, for going there. Canadians got by the Florida Panthers 4-3 in a shootout Tuesday night. Cole Caulfield scored for the Habs in the shootout, but he remains one goal shy of 50 this season. And, I'm glad that I didn't put a bet or any money on that game last night with all my Habs fan friends, because obviously I'd have lost. Montreal won the hockey, but it's a very entertaining hockey game for the watch. But that wasn't the only game last night. There were 11. Jake Sanderson scored a pair of goals, and Ottawa moved closer to a playoff appearance with a 6-2 victory over Tampa Bay. Stick with me. And Clayton Keller scored on a power play 33 seconds into overtime to lift Utah to a 6-5 victory over the Edmonton Oilers. So I was pretty excited last night that there was a doubleheader on ESPN, and the second game was Utah at Edmonton. And I want to say I went to bed. Somebody will check the accuracy of this score, but John in Edmonton will probably be the one to do that. It was 3-1 orders in the second. Edmonton had the game in hand. I went to bed. I woke up this morning, checked the score. Mammoth wins 6-5. I'm like, what the hell? So it led to this. It led to our poll question today for our friends at Country Thunder. By the way, get ready for one of the biggest parties of the summer. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson Green and Creed, plus an incredible lineup including The Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com. Which team represents Canada's best chance at the Stanley Cup in 2026? Edmonton Oilers, the Montreal Canadiens, the Ottawa Senators, Winnipeg Jets, which the Jets aren't in a playoff spot right now, but they're within sniffing. And I'm going to tell you what the correct answer is after our opening break, but I want you to think about that, please. And the U.S. viewers love this discussion as well. That's why they're here. They love the hockey talk on the RP show, because even though we're in the throes of the best playoff race stretch drive probably ever, analytics say that, still nobody's talking about it in America. It's just the way that it is. Fernando Mendoza, the projected number one overall pick in the NFL draft, has announced he's not going to Pittsburgh for the draft. That's getting far bigger news than the Stanley Cup playoff race, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. So who represents Canada's best chance at winning the Stanley Cup this year? Montreal, Ottawa, Winnipeg, or Edmonton? And when we come back, I'll tell you who it is, or at the very least, who I think that it is. So Lou Gamelin in Michigan's been good enough to push his day back a little bit. He'll be with us. We'll back everybody. You to Silver State Sports.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. Built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks? Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Center April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikassis Developments Limited.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere. Time don't matter to me. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Hi, we're back, and we're in living color. It's still glitching a little bit, but we're going to rock and roll. I think it'll be just fine. It's not my favorite to go off my iPhone rather than this microphone, because more than anything, it doesn't pick up my bell. It doesn't pick up my gong, but that's okay. The viewers are hardy, and they're with it, and we're on top of it. And I'm going to do the line open 902-518-3033 for our friends at West. So, as I often say, what do I say on Wednesdays? It's hour one. It's just me going solo. And our guest today is Captain Lou Gamelin, coming up in hour two from the Captain Lou Sports Extravaganza in Michigan. But until then, it's just you and me. For instance, BW in Edmonton, hello. I guess if we're going to bring a little talk about all things NHL, because it's the biggest thing going on right now, the big story as far as the other topics here. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Thank you, Larry. We're aware that there's buffering, Larry. We're aware. Okay, we got it. Okay. Utah Darren writes in, he says, oh, we're talking NHL in Utah. Point. That's what I'm saying, is everybody's enlivened in these, well, in your specific market. Oh, I got so many notes. I have to write this down. Bear with me. Number one, just to go back in order here for a second. The poll question is, who is Canada's best hope at the Stanley Cup in 2026? It's quite obviously the Montreal Canadiens, and I'm a little surprised that the poll is saying it's the Edmonton Oilers. I think that's to be honest. Hey, well, Jenna writes in from Southern California, says, let's go, Buffalo. That's not the question. The question is, who is Canada's best hope? And the voters are saying the Edmonton Oilers. And if you go back and read my commentary from this morning, it's available at Pedersen.com or Saskatchewan Radio. Talked about all these things. And I said, if you're an fan, I can give you some good anti-anxiety remedies, not medication, just some ways to deal with it, because this team's driving me crazy, and I'm not even an Oilers fan. Although, having said that, I'm wearing Oilers colors in their honor today. But they're out of control. There's one issue that I wanted to talk about, and it was going to be the poll question yesterday. Had we been able to have a show yesterday, and it feels like today is touch and go. But did you see what happened in Buffalo the other night? Speaking of Buffalo, Jenna, Pontus Holmberg of the Tampa Bay Lightning is skating past the penalty box, gets hit into the penalty box, and the door is open, and the door comes slightly open, and Pontus Holmberg was in the play, and John Cooper, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Lightning, comes out, basically said the guy that runs the penalty box door in Buffalo shouldn't have a job after this. That was going to be the poll question yesterday. I just want to ask you all here today, and thank you for sticking with me. You tell me whether this is doable, Corey. Is this doable, or are we not going to continue down the road? Haven't heard from producer Corey. But anyways, can you just tell me whether or not you think that the penalty box... Okay. John Ohm says, the thing is, are we going to be doing this or not? But the viewers are saying, yeah, let's keep going. So anyways, I'll just simply say, for those that are paying attention, I don't know how many were, that guy, like any of you run a player's bench door as a backup goalie? I've run many of them. And I haven't heard of Buffalo since Monday night, whether or not that guy got fired or not. But the penalty was almost expired. So the guys, we've all done it, haven't we? You're sitting there with the latch open, waiting to open it to let the guy out. And all of a sudden, boom, Pontus Holmberg comes, gets hit into the penalty door, and it opens. We've all been there. I think that Cooper was heated after the game. They 4-2. He was emotional. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to debate John Cooper on anything because I would lose. And call his job because of an accident, it feels a little harsh to me. Anyways, what else do we have here? John Ohm, says just roll with the punches, bro. Okay, we're getting it all together. I appreciate you all having the patience and helping me out on these Hour 1 Wednesdays. It looks like it's stabilizing. My God, thank you. John Ohm says, Tortor, they're still winning with Tortor. They're 4-0 with John Ella. And the one thing about this show that you all realize, all opinions matter. They're not necessarily all agreed with, but they're all accepted. You know, Rich Sutter came on the air on Monday, and he said, look at who the Golden Knights have beaten since the coaching change. Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton. That's saying something. And then Vancouver again last night, right? 3 games, Rudy Poo opponents. They just are. And he goes, well-timed firing. That's not anybody's fault. And it's still very hard to win in the National Hockey League. So, listening to NHL radio, and as I tell you, I love Son and Gord Stellick. I learn something every time I tune into those guys. And you tell me what you think, people. Maybe it's a good thing because we're not on television in anywhere today, because I don't want to get canceled out of Edmonton, although maybe I already have. But Stellick said it, and I'm going to take it a little further. Stellick said the best days they've had in Philadelphia for the last 30 years were when John Tortorella and Carter Hart were together. You remember it. Those were bubble days. Remember when Montreal played Philadelphia in round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Torts was on the bench for Philly. Carter Hart was in goal. And guess what? We are now in Vegas. The band is back together. Now, that's why I meant to say this last week, but I'll say it here. Now, it's offensive to think that Kelly McCrimmon, or any of these general managers for that matter, but specifically Vegas's Kelly McCrimmon, it's offensive to think that he doesn't know what he's doing, or that he wouldn't have put 2 and 2 together and pieced this all together and thought this is a move that he wants to make, because it's coming together. and they're 4-0. Jenna in Southern California says it was an unfortunate series of events for the Lightning. Right, going back to Monday night, Pontus Holberg getting hurt after being run into the penalty box door, which was open. Yeah, it just wasn't a good night for them. But I will say this too, by the way. Some days are better than others. We're seeing it with this show, right? It is what it is. Stuff's going to happen. I appreciate you sticking with me. And Sky Cron and the whole crew. And Captain Lou coming up next hour. So that's just one day that I wanted to make, is that the Vegas Golden Knights are rolling with heart and torque. And furthermore, back to that Edmonton Oilers situation. You know, what's letting them down right now? Defensive play and goaltending. And I'll just make this clear right now. I've made it clear before, but it's becoming even more clear. You could have had Carter Hart in Edmonton, but you didn't want him because of backlash. It's fine. It's a choice that you made. But in Vegas, they didn't care about that. They don't care about that. And I know for a fact that it went up to the owner. Basically, he was on board and was signing Carter Hart, putting up with or dealing with the suspension, then bringing him into the crease in December. And now look how it's working. So, and the owner, by the way, said, okay, it will help us win. The answer very evidently and clearly is yes. So be careful what you wish for, or we have to live with our decisions, or whatever you want to say. Edmonton didn't want to sign Carter Hart for political reasons, whatever you want to say, and they're living with it. Brent in this Bridge City writes, "His Masters tomorrow. Go Mike Weir." Yeah, there won't be a lot of Masters talk here today, but I'll be following it a little bit as a sports guy. How are we doing on time here? How are we doing, Corey? Okay. We still got some time before the break, everybody. So thanks for sticking with me. We may even have this buffering out in the next break, so stay. John Edmonton, I hope that you are not speaking for the majority of Oilers fans, because if so, that's disappointing. And what I mean by that is, he says if Tristan Jarry is not for the Oilers, can we get Skinner? You might be able to get Pickard back. You're not going to be able to get Stu Skinner, who, by the way, is laughing at you all rolling into the playoffs with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And that's my point. You might be a prime candidate, John, in Edmonton, for the anti-anxiety remedy that I was talking about earlier, because it's too much. Your team's too much. It's not your fault, by the way. It's the team in Edmonton. So back to the question, who was Canada's best chance to win a Stanley Cup in 2026? It's the Montreal Canadiens. They're rolling. They're beating everybody. For whatever reason, you guys, you're not falsely. That's fine. That's what I'm here for. The gentleman, I can't remember, I think it was BW in Edmonton, says that the Panthers should sign Stuart Skinner in the offseason. What I would say to that is, just worry. There it is. Panthers would be smart to sign Stu Skinner. Why? They're going to be signing Bob. I love you, BW. You're a P1 viewer. You tune in every day. But just worry your home team. Sergei Bobrovsky will be signing with his team. The band back together. And this whole Florida Panthers team will be a wagon again next year. Book it. I was looking at, just hang on for a sec, because John in Edmonton, I'm not going to have a back and forth with you all day. But he says Vegas and Edmonton are tied for first place in the Pacific Division. Thank you for that. I can see the standings, and you're the one that wants to get Tristan Jarry. So pick a lane. Baseball, the LA Dodgers have handed the Toronto Blue Jays straight loss. Blue Jays fell 4-1 to the visiting Dodgers on Tuesday night. who are now riding a 5-game win streak. George Springer drove in Toronto's lone run in the 6th inning. Trailing 3-1 in the 7th, the Jays were unable to cash a single run with bases loaded and nobody out. I'm going to stop that for a second. We'll come back more on the baseball. Can I give you something to think about in the break? Is cable TV winning? And what I mean by that is, I can't and won't pay for special streaming services for NHL Network to watch on Sling and upgrade my ESPN Plus package to get baseball and all the rest. So I sit back and I'm like, I'm just going to watch what's on TV, what's on cable. So it was Monday night. The Jays and Blue Jays were on. I didn't watch the March Madness final. I didn't watch any hockey. None of it was on. What was on was the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. And I'm like, are you like that? Or are you the one burning all your money in all these streaming packages? Because I have the money, but I'm not doing it. I got to pay extra just to listen to Blue Jays baseball now on Sirius XM radio. I'm not doing it. Cable's fine. I'm wondering how many of you are the same. We'll debate that and more when we come back. We'll be right back here on YouTube Stream.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hold on tight, Moose Jaw. Professional bull riding is back. PBR Canada charges into the Temple Garden Centre April 25th. See the toughest riders take on the rankest bulls in a night of non-stop, edgier seat action. Whether you're a diehard fan or brand new to PBR, this is one show you don't want to miss. Tickets are on sale now at sastix.ca or at the box office. But don't wait, they'll sell fast. Professional Bull Riding Canada in Moose Jaw.
Proudly presented by Papikas's Developments Limited.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. And thank you for your patience today. I'm sure a lot of you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about, but a little bit of connection issues today. I don't know what shit you sticking with me and getting through it. We get through it together. That's what we do every day here on the RP show. That's why we've been together so long. 1,713 episodes as of today. So, yeah, we're getting through it. And so on the Carter Hart thing, I feel like this is an issue. Everybody's going to have an opinion on it. I know Vegas would prefer that we don't talk about it at all. And trust me, I'm ready to move on from it. But all I'm saying is goaltending issues in Edmonton and a variety of places. Yeah, maybe Philadelphia was, because it looks like they're hard charging their way into the playoffs with Dan Vladar in the crease. But anyways, for those tuned in and missed it, I said the Oilers had the chance to sign Carter Hart, passed like every other Canadian team for the incident that we all know what it was. Vegas didn't have a problem with it. Or at least not, they're willing to with it. And number two is watching in Winnipeg. I appreciate you, David. He writes in, he says, I understand the turmoil around the Carter Hart signing. The incident he got involved in was deplorable, which, by the way, nobody's arguing that. We don't know his level of involvement. He was young and foolish and should have known better. All of his second chance. Let him go on with his career in life. Good on Vegas for giving him the opportunity. See, David, you and I see things the same way. That's why you're here every day, but I just want to take that one step further. And I've been in and around this for a very long time. However you want to work, he was found not guilty or innocent of all charges. Whatever it is, he's a free man. Now, the court of public opinion may be another thing, but I'm laughing at some of the people coming in here. But that's all that I'm saying. And I'll go back to where this came up today with Stella Scott Laughlin talking about it this NHL radio. Like he's my favorite hockey pundits right now and have been for a long time. I mean, I love Craig Button too, but I never get to see him down here. But they said the best years the Philadelphia Flyers have had in the last 30 years were with John Tortorella and Carter Hart. Sorry for saying, if not the two most key positions, then two of the most key positions. Head goaltender. So, coming in on 902-518-3030. In Toronto writes in, he says, the Bluebirds of unhappiness. Look, I cannot and will not listen to nor deal with the angst of Blue Jays fans. Hey, I get that they have very good reason to be upset. What I say, is it 8 in a row they've lost? Let me do this sports update here. The Toronto Blue Jays will try to avoid a sweep at the hands of their World Series, the LA Dodgers, this afternoon at Rogers Center. The Jays have been outscored 18-3 by LA in the two games of the homestand. Dodgers expected to send Shohei to the mound today to counter with righty Dylan Cease. It's either 6 or 8 losses in a row for the Blue Jays. Just trust me, it's a lot. And we're 10 into the season. I just can't. Jeff in Toronto, by the way, writes in and says it's 6. Oh my God, I just can't. Like that very same Jeff writes in, he says it's early. This team was under 100 last year. June. It's still April. Okay, here we go. Coach DeBuck checking in from here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, says, go Habs, go. Go Habs, go. Ole, ole, ole. He says, all gas and no brakes. Oh, yeah, wow, hey. Biggest bandwagon jumper of all time, Matt DeBuck. I never heard you talk before, Coach. Till now. You might want to vote on the poll, Coach DeBuck, or anybody else. Question today for our friends at Country Thunder. Returning to Craven July 9th to the 12th. What's Canada's best hope at a Stanley Cup championship in 2026? Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, or Winnipeg? Winnipeg is not yet, but it's kind of looking like they could be. There's only a handful of games left. But I also want to say in a poke, I did pick you to be in the Stanley Cup final. So the Avs doing their job. I picked the Carolina Hurricanes. They claimed the Metropolitan Division last night. Jets now on their part. I was asking earlier if you're like me. Is cable winning? It's just like everything. People ruin it. People ruin everything. But cord cutting was all a thing. Going back how far? 10 years. Wasn't cool to have cable anymore. But now it's out of control. And where I've changed everything is this. I pay for ESPN Plus, like you, Jenna. Jenna in Southern California writes in. Jenna says a bundle for ESPN Plus and the Fox One app for watching NHL, UFL, and then Sirius XM for radio because I cannot watch sports all the time because of being at work. Well, that's my thing is I've got ESPN, like the streaming, and it says your new home for MLBT, ESPN Plus. I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to get to watch the Blue Jays. And the other day they were playing whoever was on the weekend series. And I click on it. Is it for another $25.99 a month? You can no. So it goes back to Monday night. I really wanted to talk more about this yesterday, but we didn't have a show yesterday. I was amped up all day to watch the Lightning at the Sabres. Or Sabres, Jenna, because the last time those teams met in Buffalo, they said it was the best game in the history of. It used to be Midland Arena. Now it's the KeyBank Center. And to watch it, and it's like it's on NHL Network. Pay $60 a month to sling to get NHL Network. I'm like, I'm taking a stand. I can't do it anymore. Can't and won't. Because I still need for my parents. I need to get my Yellowstone. I still need to get my Landman and my Tulsa King. I'm not total sports nerd. I'm just enough with the streaming costs. Enough. And it was Monday on Fox. I'm clicking through the channel guide, and it's like, oh, Dodgers at Blue Jays. I'm like, cable's winning. I'll watch whatever's on. I'll watch what you put on in front of me. Now, I get some that you're only into MLB, or you're only into NHL, or you're only into UFL if those people exist. I get that. But I'm into a little bit of everything. And what I learned on the broadcast the other night was Kenny Albert was calling the game. I don't know who was doing color with him. And they're like, do you know why George Springer wears the blue and green batting gloves and the protective forearm protectors? And they're no idea. And they're like, it's in honor of the Hearts because he's from Connecticut. And I'm like, oh my God. I had absolutely no idea. Those are the things that you can learn. So all I'm saying is I am officially done and out with paying anything extra for streaming. It's out of control. It's too much. Well, back to the Carter Hart thing. Utah Darren writes in and says, as someone who has been given a huge second chance, let me say, when given that chance, you will work your ass off to make it worth people's while and had faith in you. Bro. What, as they say in Florida, say less, which is a compliment. You're done. Mic drop. I'm a 4th, 5th, 6th chance guy. So I know. People don't like to hear the truth. Truth hurts. That's the thing with Edmonton. And it hurts even more, I would suggest. That's Carter Hart's hometown. I know that I'm gibberish to a lot of people, but I just want to make it clear. The guy was found innocent or not guilty. So don't complain too much about your goaltending issues because you had a chance to fix it, but you were afraid of the backlash. Vegas wasn't. I don't know. It's not my team. I'm just saying. I had thoughts on Winnipeg the other day, and it went over well with some and not over well with others. I'm good either way. We'll continue this when we come back. 902-518-33. You're watching the RP Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back. Glad to have you aboard. Appreciate you sticking with us here. Captain Lou coming up in hour two. Lou Gamelin from the 12-Ounce Sports Network in Michigan. There's a lot of really cool things going on in Michigan sports right now. The Wolverines winning the March Madness men's basketball. The Frozen Four hockey tournament, college hockey, it's going on in Vegas. Did you know that? We were hoping to have Sean Hogan on yesterday's program. We all know what happened there. He is the executive director of College Hockey, Inc. There's a lot of fun, exciting things going on right now. 902-518-3033 line. I think it's kind of cool what we're doing, actually, kind of rocking it back old school in a lot of ways, just with this show. The Larry King Hello. I can do it with you and make it entertaining. You're a huge part of that, everybody. And I didn't, frankly, think you would jump into this as much as you have. The whole streaming versus cable discussion. Jim writes in, he's watching in Balgoni. He says, good day, RP and RP Nation. I'm a simple man, basic cable. And that's what I'm given. You can always listen to the Jays on AM 1190 Weyburn. Enjoy the day, all. My first ever radio station, AM 1190, which called it 1190 SL. We've got your country covered. CFL. It's gone too far. Like everything, it's always gone too far. It says, yes, NHL Network games. I'm listening on Sirius XM. God bless the NHL in a lot of ways, because I can't listen to baseball nor NFL on XM, paying more. So if they're already paying, it's too much. Jeff in Toronto writes in, he says, I prefer sports on Sirius Radio except for NFL. I will watch. Well, as I just said, you have to, or pay more. Trust me, I got Sirius XM every morning. Scott in Vang writes in, and he says, I went to the Knights versus Canucks game. Really enjoyed the experience. If you can go to the games and not expect your team to win, or have a good time without your team winning, that's the sweet spot. It's funny because Coach DeBuck, writing in here from Fort Lauderdale, he says Texas spring game on ESPN Plus, April 18th. His son is the long for the Texas Hook'em. He's a Habs fan, so we were texting through it last night. And I said, if the Panthers had a chance of winning this game, I'd have bet you. But I just knew they weren't going to, so I didn't bet them. And the Panthers lost. He's a Habs fan. We'll give him a break because he's from Montreal. I've just never heard him talk about the Montreal Canadiens till now, since they got good. But anyways, I really enjoyed the game. But on one hand, I don't like being different from everybody else. I don't like it at all. But as my therapist Rand says, that's why you have a show. It's entertaining. So the point is, I can watch a game, be entertained, even if my team doesn't win. It's like I got three heads. What else do we have here? Tony in Cochrane, Alberta, writes in on the cable versus paying for streaming. Tony listened to free radio when at the trailer, and a lot of the free The Score app, which has Scorecast live pitch by pitch updates. See, everybody's into something different, but I'm gonna tell you something right now that some won't like. I don't care if they don't like it. Everybody's in our faces right now. Watch their league, buy their stuff more now than ever. Because you got to pay more to watch the NHL. I didn't mind paying it. And I just feel like I'm sorry, but a Canadian hour of the show, let's not forget. And I just feel like the CFL is falling behind. Am I right or wrong in that? I feel like the CFL is falling behind. And my job, obviously, to talk about them or sell their stuff or whatever. I see the fans writing in here saying, where's the new website we were promised? Where's the new this? Ask them. What are you asking me for? But again, similar to those complaining about the cost of hockey tickets with the my old team there, not changing anything. The owner clearly doesn't care, so what am I worried about? I just love all of you showing up here today and being part of this discussion, despite whatever technical issues seem to be going on. Bruce is the latest. Hey, AB. Says, great morning, RP show. Arlen Bruce, the former Kansas City and two-time champion. This cable used to be the big thing, like the payphone. He says, I have this thing called the box with over 500 channels. Sometimes it freezes. Other than that, great investment. I worked with a guy in the radio business by the name of Jim. He was our agricultural news. And he used to always have this line. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play? Look it up. Other than the biggest problem involved, everything else is fine. Just talking about Abraham Lincoln, just so you know. 925183033. Lou Gamelin showing up next hour from the Sports Network, the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Wayne from Victoria, BC writes in. He says, good morning, Rod Squad. I'm glad you're back on the air. Me too. And by the way, it's not just us. I listen to Mike Florio all the time. Every network has tech, just so you know. Remember we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago when Moose was on the air. ESPN, Sunday night. I believe it was Florida Panthers at New Year's, and for the first half of the first, the announcers weren't working. Kind of a big deal on ESPN. Just about morning on Mike Florio, NBC Sports Radio, they're having technical issues. So it happens. Coach DeBuck writes in and says, I got rid of DirecTV. Now we have YouTube TV. Much happier now. Yeah, I'm okay with my cable package. Like I say, I watch whatever's put in front of me because I'm like, I like a little bit of everything. But I'll tell you right now, I am, before we break, a secondary poll question might have been this. I really thought about it, but I might save it till Friday. Should Fernando Mendoza have to go to the NFL draft? Oh my God, Coach DeBuck, you got me thinking. And I don't even think you meant to. But big story out of the NFL that I saw, aside from the Mike Vrabel thing that I'm not even touching here. But as Fernando Mendoza has informed the NFL, the number one Miami Hurricanes, that Miami, he plays with Indiana, as you all know. He's not the NFL draft going number one overall. Carlos in Indiana, who is here pointing out that it's 1:11 Eastern for our live streaming audience, 1:11 Eastern. Should Fernando Mendoza be forced to attend the NFL draft? What do you all? Because there is proof that in football unites us all, but specifically the NFL. Because when that hits in a couple weeks' time, we'll be following. Okay? Some people are into the CFL, some people are into the Blue Jays, some are into the Masters, some are into the UFL. We can't talk about it all. We can't. But in the thing with Mendoza, I'll just put it this way. Because DeBuck and I talk about this. When we go for chicken fingers at Raising Cane, we talk about where are we in life? Our age and older will get it. We're told what to do, told to jump, told how high. We did it. These kids now aren't doing it. So in the case of Fernando Mendoza, he's like, yeah, I'm not going to go to the draft, NFL. I'm going to stay home with my family. We're going to celebrate it here. So Coach DeBuck says, yes, he should. He's now part of the money machine. I feel like, carry over into next hour. But I feel like Roger Goodell, this is our generation. Goodell's got to grab him and go, no, you're coming. And it goes back to the 90s with this. Nobody's bigger than the league. And Tiger Woods is in the news here right now, but it was put to me this way one time. Would there be a Tiger Woods without the PGA? No. Would the PGA without Tiger Woods? Yes. That's really all you need to know. Nobody's bigger than the league. In this case, nobody's bigger than the sheep. And I'm quite frankly surprised that Fernando Mendoza is allowed to do this. See, well, here's Utah Darren writes in, says Mendoza should be allowed to do what he chooses. Oh, boy. I think we have a secondary poll question. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, hello there. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. Rocking and rolling. What are we doing here? We're streaming. We are on the Silver State Sports Network. We're welcoming our viewers across Nevada. It's been a day, but we're getting it through it because teamwork makes the dream work. Your favorite sports program, I know that because you're here, clearly. And we've got some interesting things on the table today. I'll tell you right now, the text line is open, 902-18-3033, the number to reach us. Quick 6 show topics, if this comes across iPhone mic. We're having some tech gremlin internet issues here as we broadcast from South Florida through Canada, booming back to wherever you are sitting right now. Thanks for making us part of your day. I got to call an audible right now. I got to call an audible because something popped up. And it's what I like about format of what we do here. I should tell you, our guest today, coming up in the next segment, is Lou Gamelin from the 12-Ounce Sports Network, Michigan's Captain Lou Extravaganza. Pretty good times for Michigan sports right now. The men's basketball team wins March Madness. The team is in the Frozen Four, facing off in Las Vegas this weekend. If you didn't know, look it up. The NCAA Men's Hockey Championships being played at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and Michigan Wolverines, one of the 4 teams. But then the Detroit Red Wings, they're kind of sucking right now. We'll get to it all. We'll get to it all with Captain Lou when he joins us. But just more than anything, thank you for making us part of your day. So here's the audible that we're calling. I'm going to open big story with the NHL in a second. The news came down Wednesday morning that Fernando Mendoza, which if you're not sick of hearing his name, you're going to be for the next several years. But the quarterback from Miami, help me out, Coach DeBuck. What Miami high school did he play at? Central? Doesn't matter. Led the Indiana Hoosiers to the national championship, college football this year, right here in Miami. Going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft by the Las Vegas Raiders. He has informed the NFL that he will not be attending the draft. I'm sorry. I'm only tickled because I'm imagining how these conversations have gone. In a roundabout way, Fernando Mendoza, or more likely his agent, calling Roger Goodell and saying, just so you know, my client will not be at the draft. I'm sorry, what? No. I've seen that look a million times on people like Roger Goodell's face. It's because they're processing the number 1 overall pick, the guy that we're going to sell millions of dollars worth of jerseys. He's not coming. So let's back this up. My man, is my mind all over the place, Coach. Oh, Columbus High School. Thank you, Columbus. Thank you. Oh, and that's where Mario Cristobal went to school too, right? Coach of the. Anyways, complete polar opposite. This is the audible poll question today. It's not our actual poll question, but it should have been. Should Fernando Mendoza be forced to go to the NFL draft? Because I'm going to say, hell yes, he should. I'm sorry, we're not living in the ages of and Coach, you're doing it. I get that. You also need to help sell this league that's going to pay you hundreds of millions of dollars over the next 20 years. If you're talking about Coach Matt DeBuck here, 3-time state champion coach with the Chiefs, writes in and says, yes, he should have to go. He's a part of the money machine, for sure. But Utah Darren writes in and he says, Mendoza should be able to do what he chooses. This isn't picking what you want in your lunch to go to school, okay? Mom, I won't eat ham. You're going. End of story. Utah Darren says Mendoza has not signed a contract with the league. He is not an employee. Yet if he wants to spend what is up to this point the most important day of his life, family, let him. Are we doing this? Are we going to get into this argument here right now? Or am I completely out to lunch? Help me, please, people. 902-1830. I'll talk myself out of this like a corkscrew into the ground. You're gaslighting me. That's what it is. You're going to make me convince myself that I'm wrong. This league is going to pay him hundreds of millions of dollars. They are. Over the next few years. The least you can do is show up for the draft. Boy. Anyways, are you hearing this? That's like the big story. You know, we open every day with a big story. That came down the pipe Wednesday morning. So we had to call an audible topics here. But the big story is the hockey. As far as in my world, NHL, 11 games last night. Montreal Canadiens got by the Florida Panthers 4-3 in a shootout. Cole Caulfield, they're calling him Goal Caulfield, scored for the Canadiens in the shootout, but remains a goal shy of 50 this season. Jake Sanderson scored a pair of goals, and Ottawa moved closer to a playoff appearance with a 6-2 win over Tampa, and Clayton Keller scored on a power play 33 seconds into overtime to lift Utah to a 6-5 victory over Edmonton. Why am I reading those scores specifically, 11? Because the poll question is, and trust me, by now you know we're airing on Game Plus TV in Canada. Yes, Nevada, but I'm still a Canadian and always will be. I don't think I'll ever get over the mental conditioning of how we think when it comes to the NHL. So the poll question is, who's Canada's best hope for a Stanley Cup in 2026? And I'm very surprised at the result of the poll. Brought to you by Country Thunder, by the way. Get ready for one of the biggest parties of the year. Country Thunder returns to Craven, Saskatchewan, July 9th to the 12th, featuring Lainey Wilson, Riley Green, and Creed, plus a lineup including the Dead South, Gavin Adcock, Cameron Whitcomb, and more. Don't miss out. Get your tickets now at countrythunder.com/SK. The poll question is, who's Canada's best hope at a Stanley Cup championship in 2026? Edmonton, Montreal, Ottawa, or Winnipeg? The correct answer is the Montreal Canadiens. Sorry. Ole, ole, ole. It's Montreal. They're winning every game. They're motorboating everybody. Yeah, they took Florida to extra time last night, had to come back and win it in a shootout. But so what? Edmonton lost in Utah in a must-win game. And I'll be honest, too, this Oiler goaltending situation, because I know we're up against it with time, and Captain Lou's going to be joining us here shortly. We'll put all these questions to Lou. Edmonton doesn't even know who their goalie is. I thought it was Connor Ingram. Yet you go into really a must-win game last night, and you're playing Tristan Jarry. Is this going to go all the way to the Stanley Cup? And I don't know. Edmonton's to the dance, but they've left alone the last two dances. That's not a good feeling. I lived it personally. High school. Montreal's rolling. They got the juju, as they say. It's not that they don't know who their goalie is. They got too many good goalies. Jakob Dobush played last night and played very well in the win over the Florida Panthers. It's Montreal. I want to think goal is skewed towards our Western viewers. That's what I think is going on. By the way, welcome, Bill. He says, good morning, crew, for those watching live. Appreciate having you. As you can see, we're having some sticky issues today. It happens. But we're on the air. That's the main thing. So that's the poll question for Country Thunder. Who's Canada's best hope? But this Mendoza thing, this is a life thing. And when we started this show 1,713 episodes ago, that's kind of what we wanted it to be. It's not a highlight show. It's not sports. And that's why Gamelin next, he'll be part of exactly what we want this to be. A coffee table sports discussion. As I used to say, I should say it again, it hasn't changed. The View, but for sports fans. Should Fernando Mendoza be forced to go to the draft? Because he says he's not going. What do you think, Roger Gattel's reaction? Tony from Cochrane writes in, he says, agree. There is absolutely no loyalty in workplaces anymore, including pro sports. He will be dead like all players someday, and the league won't be there for him. Then, will they? I was not talking about the end of his career. We're talking about the start of his career. And I still feel you should be loyal to who's paying you. I hope we can have a decent discussion about this and not get in, please. Coach sticking with us in Fort Lauderdale here. He says 100% he should have to go. He is now puts generational wealth. That would scare me if I'm drafting him. Selfish. We all do things we don't want to. That's the thing. It's a little thing called life. Oh, I'm perfectly honest. I've been following this Fernando Mendoza story for a while. Not as long as DeBuck, who would have played against him and seen him in high school, of course. But this is the first red flag of the Fernando Mendoza train. It's the first one. Yeah, I'll pass on your draft. I would like to stay home with my mom and dad. What? Sea Lightning writes in and says, Mendoza sounds like Eric Lindros, who doesn't want to go to a losing team. There's way more to that whole Lindros story that I don't flushing out 30 years later. But I also want to say, or 40 years later. Whew. But I also want to say this. Listening to NHL radio this morning. I mentioned this on the program once today. I mentioned it again. Gord Stellick and Lachlan, the host. Well, Gord Stellick specifically said when the Philadelphia Flyers were in their heyday, well, their best years they've had, the Philadelphia Flyers in the last 30 years, were when John Tortorella was the head coach and Carter Hart was the goalie. Look it up. I mean, I don't have to. I remember them playing in the bubble. Do you remember Game 7, Carey Price versus Carter Hart? Now they're together in Vegas. And I will say it on the Nevada hour of the program. It's offensive for anybody to think that Kelly McCrimmon didn't know what he was doing by firing Bruce Cassidy when he did and bringing in John Tortorella. Offensive. But nobody cares. Everybody's going to give their opinion and all the rest. But you don't know more than an NHL general or an NFL manager. You don't. I'm sure Kelly McCrimmon put 2 and 2 together long before Gord Stellick did. Or me listening to it on the cardio machine at LA Fitness. And now, lo and behold, they're 4-0 under John Tortorella. And give me this. Oh, they're playing bad teams. Yeah, my good friend Rich Sutter brought that up the other day. But and we're all entitled to our opinion, but it's not easy to win in the National Hockey League. Vancouver aside, it's just not. Oh, boy. Tony from Cochrane, we're going to have to have a longer chat on the Fernando Mendoza to draft thing. He says, so he's selling his soul to the Shield? That's it? Come on, man. That's not right either. What do you think's going on, Tony? What do you think is... You didn't realize? Everybody's sold their soul to it. Come on. You're just finding this out now? I'll tell you something about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, too. But you better be sitting down. Joe Lazito is watching on Long Island. He says, while it's his right to stay home, it's also the right of every team to see this as a red flag and it's on him. I'm glad he's not going to the Bills. Ooh, doggy. Do we have something to get into with Gamelin when he joins us next? I knew that this would be lightning rod. I didn't think it would be this lightning rod. And by the way, Tony and I've met. We're cool. It's the way we talk to each other. But if you don't think Everybody answering to that shield hasn't sold their soul to their shield, to that shield. I got some motion from Arizona you might be interested in. I'm sitting here wondering, this just came out today, that Fernando Mendoza's, I think I'll pass. I'm going to stay home with my parents. We're going to order pizza. I have a feeling he's going to change his mind. Yeah. So, Lou Gamelin, if you're watching right now, that's what we'll be talking about when we come back. Lou Gamelin from the Captain Lou Sports Extravaganza. A lot of fun things going on with Michigan sports. And we'll get into those when we come back. You're watching the RP show on this Thursday, streaming Silver State Sports, YouTube Live, and WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. The RP Show continues here on Silver State Sports and streaming. And Lou Gamelin joins us today from the 12-Ounce Sports Network, the Captain Lou Sports Extravaganza, and his appearance brought to you by Prairie Panels. Hey, Lou, good to see you. For those that just tuned in, you know what I'm going to ask you about, but for those that didn't see what I was talking about before the break, Fernando Mendoza saying today, informing the NFL, he will not be attending the draft because he wants to stay home with his family. Where are you on this?
I think he should be there. You know, he's going to learn that once he gets out in the real world, so to speak, he gets all the free meals. He doesn't have to pay for another meal the rest of his life, and he's going to get generational wealth, and that's all part of the job, Rod. I mean, he's got all that money in Indiana. Who's kidding who? And he should be there. I mean, he is representing the NFL. It's not going to cost him anything to go there. I mean, he should be there. That's all part of the game.
Yeah. Well, what do you think was the NFL's reaction in Rodriguez specifically when he heard this?
He's probably taking his phone and he's going like this, and he's like, "What? What do you mean you're not going? You've got to go." He's probably got his whoever he's got, a special counsel, whatever, convincing them that you have to be there. And it's not a good look for Mendoza, in my opinion. It's not a good way to start. Something tells me, like you said, something's going to change, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's there in Pittsburgh next week or in a couple of weeks.
Okay. That's not even why I brought you on, but it did break today, so I wanted to get to it. But what a time for Michigan Marine sports, especially men's sports. Can you talk about that basketball and then roll it into hockey, please, Lou?
Wow, what a run it was indeed for Michigan. You know, everybody said at the beginning they had a shot to really do something special, and boy, oh boy, they sure ran through the NCAA tournament, did they? They lost to Purdue in the Big Ten championship game, which to me really was meaningless. I couldn't tell you the last tournament champion out of the Big Ten who went on to win the national championship, and obviously it was 26 years ago, maybe. But they ran through the tournament, and of course, then they played UConn, and the way for UConn to win was to play defense. And who knew that Michigan was going to be able to step it up as well? And they did. And they played a great defensive style. They are just too athletic, too big, and now they're the champions. And yeah, maybe, Rod, they're mercenary. I hear that argument, but you know what? It's still, you need a great coach to be able to get them to win that championship game. Not only to put the talent together, but to massage the egos and get them all to play the team game. And you heard Elliot Cadeau in the post game. He said, we put stats aside. We wanted to win. And they did. So I don't care who you put together. If you can't win it, then it means nothing. And they won it. So congratulations to Michigan. It's a great time right now in Ann Arbor and the state of Michigan.
Right. And now please preview the Frozen Four for me. It's going to be awesome in Vegas.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I would love to be there tomorrow. You've got four teams from the old WCHA days back in the 33 national championships amongst the four teams. I think Denver's got 10, Michigan's got 9, and they're playing each other in the nightcap. Then you've got North Dakota and Wisconsin. Just that matchup right there, Rod, brings back great memories of even back in the 70s watching these teams, listening to these games. And then when they both came up in my neck of the woods to play Northern Michigan, I call it the throwback Frozen Four. And all four teams are so talented. I literally think it's going to be a toss-up, especially the nightcap. Whenever Denver and Michigan play each other, look out. And again, Wisconsin and North Dakota gets a toss-up too. August is going to be treated to an absolute great weekend of hockey. And I mean, my heart says Michigan, obviously being from Michigan, but I wouldn't be surprised if any one of those four teams won it. I would Denver winning it all as much as I'd like to see Michigan win it.
So you just said it, but I'll say it again for those that blew by. Thursday's the semifinals at T-Mobile Arena. North Dakota versus Wisconsin, followed by Michigan versus Denver. And Saturday night is the championship final. And what I like about this, Luce, and I love the Memorial Cup. I'm a junior hockey guy, but that's a round robin. That's 4 teams. It takes 10 days. What I love about what you guys do, no screwing around. One and done. That makes it very exciting.
Oh yeah, it's just like the American Collegiate Hockey Association tournament that I've been a part of for the last decade. The top teams, they play in a single elimination tournament. The coaches like it. It makes you play hockey right away. There's no double elimination. You've got to bring your game right from the word go, and it makes it exciting. And that's what I can't wait for it tomorrow. I'll watch the Masters the first part of the day, and then turn on for what more could you ask for?
Well, we brought you on, as I said, to talk Michigan sports, the basketball, hockey, Fernando Mendoza. We got a lot to get to here. The Red Wings. Oh, boy.
Rod, it's funny. It's last night I was watching that debacle when they played Columbus. So much on the line. It reminded me of trying to do a crossword puzzle. You work on it for a little bit, you get frustrated, you set it aside. 10 minutes later, you pick it back up. Oh, I get a little bit more. Then you get frustrated, you set it aside. That's been the Red Wings since before the Olympic break. And then yesterday was it was the culmination of it, right? I mean, they play good for a while, then they go to sleep. They get the game-winning or the go-ahead goal, I should say. A Falk, I thought, all right, here we go. Maybe we can hang on. But then Fantilli, the Michigan guy, breaks their heart getting that goal with 16 seconds left in regulation time and then losing in the shootout. Rod, the Vultures are starting to circle in Detroit. I know they've got 4 games left. There's still a shot. It's like 7%. And the way Ottawa's playing in Boston, it's not looking good for the Red Wings. And it's very frustrating. I guess I'm flummoxed by it. Those are 2 words that come to mind for me.
Well, if they miss, it'll be, I think, 10 straight years out of the playoffs. Somebody will be fired. How high up do you think it goes?
Yeah. Well, I still don't think Yzerman's going to get fired. I really don't. I would be shocked. I could see some of the guys, possibly Draper going. I don't know. I mean, it just Chris Illich. He's not like his old man. I mean, he's more tolerant. He's more about season coming in. And I know a lot of folks want him out. A lot of folks want some trades made, but I mean, I see McClellan going anywhere because he brings fire. That's what they need. But obviously, it's gone on deaf ears. If Yzerman's gone, then who do they go to? Do they go to Horkoff or do they go to Draper? I don't know. It's the $1 million question, Rod, right now in the city of Detroit with the Red Wings, and I just don't know what. But at the end of the day, I still don't see Yzerman getting fired. Not yet. It's been 7 years with him here. I get it. What have you done for me lately? But I don't see the hometown hero fired just yet. I think he's going to get at least 1 more year.
Love hockey with you above all sports. I'm wondering what you're seeing out of Vegas with the Golden Knights 4-0 under John Tortorella, and now Carter Hart's back. What a story.
Well, I'll tell you what a time to get hot, eh? John Tortorella, he's such a polarizing figure. And, I think it was a good move. They were floundering. Let's face it. They needed a kick in the pants, if you will, to get going. And what a way to get going at the right time. I love it. I think they've got just as good a shot, at least to get to the Western Conference Finals as anybody. And once you get there, you get hot. If Carter Hart plays great or plays above average, they can hang with the Avalanche or the Dallas Stars. And that's what the beauty of it. Like your poll question, I love the Canadians. My heart says Montreal, and your poll question has the best chance to go to the Cup or win the Cup. But I love what they did in Vegas. You got to shake it up, man, and that's what they.
Well, and that poll question, by the way, is which Canadian team represents the best chance at winning a Stanley Cup for Canada and ending the drought? And the options are Montreal, Edmonton, Ottawa, or Winnipeg. And for me, it's Montreal, but Edmonton poll, I'm not saying I'm right. I guess we'll find out. A lot of people are writing in saying, none of them. It ain't coming north.
My heart says Montreal, Rod. I grew up, in the early 70s. I used to listen to the Red Wings, but I also listened to the Canadiens with my grandfather, who's from Montreal area. And so I've got a soft spot for them. They're my second team. But the only reason I wouldn't say Montreal is because I think they've got a bigger gauntlet to get out of in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. And that's why I might lean towards Edmonton, because I think they have a better shot. But I love your point earlier in your program. Who knows what their goaltending is going to bring out there? And I think that's going to eventually be their Achilles heel. So, yeah, to your poll question, I think Montreal at the end of the day probably does have the best shot to win the Cup out of the Canadian teams.
Viewer questions are always fun. Utah writes in, he says, football is about to get fun at Michigan. Getting Kyle Whittingham as the new coach is going to be a huge upgrade. Thoughts on that?
Well, I 100% agree. I think, he had such success in Utah with a lot more limited resources, if you will. And, the interesting thing is, how is he going to mesh with Underwood? It's going to take a transition time. But, the boys up the road with Michigan State, with Fitzgerald, rather, the old coach Western, that's going to ramp up the rivalry there. I think Michigan is still probably a year or two from being a serious contender for the national championship. But, it's going to be, I think it's going to be better than last year. They have a shot at least to get to the playoff.
Well, let's continue our tour around Detroit sports, if you don't mind. I don't get a big chance to do this. How are the Tigers starting?
Well, they're 4-7. Skubal got roughed up yesterday. I think that's the first time that he's given up 4 runs in an inning. They lost to the Twins. They've lost 2 in a row to the Twins. It's the same old, they can't hit. And I know they're batting around 235 as a team, which right half is like middle of the pack in the American or in the national or in the major leagues, I should say. It's early. I still think they've got a very, very good pitching staff. Their starting rotation to me is very good. It's a shame that Verlander had to go on the DL already with his hip. But Kevin McConaughey, he's the real deal, Rod. The youngster, the rookie that got called up, he looks wise beyond his years. He looks like he's been in the league years. Be the cornerstone. Him and Colt Keith and this Max Clark, once he gets brought up either at the end of the year or next year, they tried to go all in because I think in the back of their minds, they know that what's looming next year with the CBA expiring and a potential lockout and everything, they're going to be there in the end. It's early. They can't always start out hot. They're going to be right there in the Central Division because that's so wide open. There's not going to be a team that wins 95 games out of that division this year. So I'm not worried about them yet. Check back with me around the All-Star break if they're still floundering.
Of course. Of course. And hey, you got a couple Lions jerseys on the wall. We have more NFL questions and comments have come in. I'll just say this with your Lions, what a major step back this year. I don't know that we saw that coming. Did you?
No, you know what? We did. And, I get the whole fourth place or first place schedule they had to endure. I get all that. But, it's almost like they lost the edge with winning. And now, the buzz circling around Taylor Decker and how he wasn't treated well and this and that. And personally, I don't think the Lions owed him anything. I think he kind of dug his grave a little bit. He, to use a Vegas casino reference, he pushed his chips all in, and they called his bluff a little bit, and now he went and called a local reporter to his home to, try to cry the blues about how the Lions didn't treat him that well. It's a business. It's like you said with this thing with Mendoza. Hey, he made his money in the NFL. He wasn't willing to appreciate either. But other than that, I think the core is still there. I'm going to miss Montgomery. I think getting Pacheco will be good because Gibbs is a premier back in the NFL. I rebound. It's going to be tough, though. The Bears, I think, are better. So winning the division is going to be tough. But this is now the honeymoon's over for Brad Holmes. He's going to have to produce in the draft. I think he did okay in free agency. He didn't make the big splash rather. But this to me is going to be real huge for them. If they say it's almost like they're starting over again. I still think they're a 10 to 11 win team. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl team, but they're going to be right there at least for a playoff spot. But can't wait for the draft.
Well, it's funny, this Mendoza thing, it just isn't going away for the viewers. And number one overall projected pick, Fernando Mendoza's in from the NFL. He's not going to attend the draft. He wants to stay home. David, number two, writes in from Winnipeg. He says the NFL is going to make him rich beyond most of our dreams. He should do is show up. At least he is show up. I don't think, well, we have not heard the last of this, Lou, but we're 2 minutes. But tell me, this isn't a red flag for the Raiders. Like, he's still going number one, right?
Oh, there's no way they're not going to draft him. Nah, it's not a red flag. It's just, I think it's just a comeuppance. It might be a misstep, maybe. They're still going to take him. I mean, they signed that center out of Baltimore, which is one that I wanted the Lions to get. So they're preparing for it. And yeah, they're going to make him the number one pick because then they get him for 5 years, Rod, at a rookie contract rate. It gives them time to build around him and get more weapons, get some more protection. They're going with him. I hope he goes there. I mean, again, it's just a bad look. The NFL, like your guy just said, they're going to make him generational wealth, be able to spread, for centuries. And so I hope he comes to the right frame of mind and goes to the draft in Pittsburgh.
In 30 seconds, how can our viewers catch the Captain Lou Extravaganza?
Well, you can join. We're going to be on in the mornings now, 11 o'clock Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now on my YouTube channel, which is the Captain Lou Sports Network. I'm retired from my day job, so now I get to do what I love to do best, and that's talk sports during the day, 3 days a week until the summer. Then it'll go 5 days, 11 o'clock Eastern time on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube.
Well, you're doing a great job. This has been awesome, Lou. Thanks for coming on. We covered it all. Captain Lou, check him out on YouTube. We'll be right back on Silver State's.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, the RP Show continues on Silver State Sports, brought to you in part by Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training, conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. The text line is for Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. You can reach us here in the studio at 902-518-3033. This is the news you can use that has kind of taken our show today, and I'm totally fine with that. I can roll with it. Fernando Mendoza, expected to go first overall to the Las Vegas Raiders, will watch the NFL draft with family and friends in Miami, according to a source. The draft will take place in Pittsburgh starting April 23rd, and many top players will be there to receive congratulations and a hug from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. But players, even those who are drafted first, sometimes prefer to watch from a different location. Defensive end Trayvon Walker in 2022 and quarterback Trevor Lawrence in 2021 were the two most recent top picks to watch from. Raiders officials have signaled that they would like to ease men into the starting lineup without expressly saying they will draft the player who won the Heisman Trophy and led Indiana to the national championship. Las Vegas signed veteran quarterback Kirk Cousins last week, lightly with the idea of him starting while Mendoza watches and learns from the sideline. Cousins in Las Vegas for off-season workouts. And so interesting. I was covering the NFL in 2021. I don't really, well, it was virtual then, right? That was COVID times. Probably not that big a deal for Trevor to say, I'll pass. This is to me, much bigger deal. And not necessarily a tug of war between generations here. We got guys on both sides of my generation arguing on this. I just feel like you should be there. As I said earlier, this league's about to put hundreds of millions of dollars in your pocket. The least you can do is go help sell the draft. But again, what the hell do I know? Sports update continuing for the Ultimate Fan Zone. Colorado Avalanche clinched the top seed in the NHL West for the third time in the last 5 seasons, can clinch the President's Trophy as soon as Thursday. From the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo's rocky relationship with the Bucks is apparently even more fractured than it seemed, with the two-time MVP reportedly Milwaukee to trade him multiple times. Their years-long game of tug-of-war may finally actually be coming to an end. League. How about this? The last kick on Tuesday with a pair of first leg matches. Bayern Munich won their heavyweight clash against Real Madrid 2-1, and Arsenal beat Sporting CP 1-0 with a game winner in stoppage time. For the soccer fans, you're welcome. And Gino Auriemma released a second statement apologizing for his post-game blow-up towards Don Staley that dominated headlines following UConn Final Four loss to South Carolina on the win in women's March Madness play. Auriemma said, quote, "I've lost more games in the Final Four than any coach in history, but Friday I lost something more important. I lost myself." Why am I laughing? Everybody's coming undone. Make sure that's not you. 902-518-3033. Fine, we'll get to more of your comments. Break coming back in overtime. David in Winnipeg writes in, he says, "Wouldn't it be funny if the entire NFL The entire NFL almost did last year on Shadir Sanders. Remember, we were watching that very closely. And he went from being a projected top 3 pick, mock draft, to sliding to the 5th round with Cleveland. Almost slipped right out of the draft. That's not going to happen with Mendoza. He's going to go number 1. And I think this ain't over yet. Do you want to make a bet today that he ends up at the draft? Because I'm kind of thinking he will. Brent from the Bridge City writes in, he said, Vegas made a good move getting Cousins to work alongside Mendoza. Yeah, and if you've been watching this show the past few weeks, Mike Davis, Ball Friday, predicted it would happen and then explained afterwards why he knew it would happen. And we're hoping for all good times for the Raiders. The arrow's certainly pointing up. Can't much slower. We'll be coming right back with overtime. I'm Ethics for the night and your final comments right after this on Silver State.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. Okay, everybody, for Overtime, it is the final segment brought to you by our friend Time Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. Look up Randy and Michelle there. Great family-run business where they're now offering personalized shooting, training, and coaching for your kid. Don't get left in the dust. Perfect your skills at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. David numbers in from Winnipeg and says, Rod, thanks for hanging in and keeping it going on the live stream. I would flip that back on you and say thank you, David, for hanging in through the entire show and giving me a lot to talk about. That very same David says, somewhere I hear Aerosmith singing Stream On. Oh, that's funny. That's actually really funny. Stream On. You know, it's interesting. You notice, you probably haven't, you people. But the theme song of the Team USA men's hockey team was Dream On. And it comes from the 1980 Miracle on Ice situation. And I don't know if that was their song. Was Dream On even a song in 1980? But it was the movie starring Herb Brooks. So when you bring up Dream On, I'm always going to think of Jack Hughes and the USA flag over his shoulder. My God, I see that photo every day. It's so good. NHL, only 3 games tonight. Buffalo at the Rangers, definite Sabres win. Washington at Toronto. Washington still has a chance, I guess. So I'll go with the Caps. Edmonton at San Jose. That's a toughie. Definitely the game of the night. I think I'll go with the Sharks. They rallied for a really huge win over Chicago the other night. San Jose did. One thing I wanted to mention too, speaking of rallying, I talked about it way back at the start in the warm-up, and obviously you see with these buffering issues, I've been a little distracted today, but I do want to give a hearty thank you to viewers of this show, because you probably of you were watching back then when I mentioned Neil Chark, the Globe Carefree Travel out of Vancouver, came to us about marketing his company and put on sale this Blue Jays trip. 2 MLB games in Toronto, Jays, Yankees, and 1 CFL game, Riders at Taps. And we met a couple of weeks ago via Zoom with our business manager, Joe. And I said, oh, we'll have this sold out by the end of April. And I thought, who knows if we'll sell it out at all? It's sold out within like a week from our viewers. So I really appreciate you all doing that. August 14th to the 17th, 3 nights hotel in downtown Toronto, ground transfers. You did it. So thank you. The RP Show viewers always come through and support our in our efforts and all the rest. So thanks. And by the way, Neil Chark, and they're also the official travel partner of the BC Lions, and as well as the RP show. Neil wants to know where you want to go next. So we don't need to make a decision today. But I told Neil odds on clubhouse leader is Dallas. And that's not just because I'm a Cowboys fan, okay? And even Neil himself said he's out in Vancouver. He said he's had a tough time selling any West Coast Pacific time zone sports trips, i.e., San Francisco, LA, Vegas. So for whatever reason, he said Nashville's been very popular, and Dallas, obviously. And what you all don't know was back in the fall, we were getting heavy pressure to go to Dallas and do a show there. Cowboys alumni wanted to be involved. Somehow or another, this show is taken over Texas. It's one of the 33 states which is being carried on Game. So anyways, Neil Chark is all excited. He wanted to pass along a thank you to you people for selling out that trip. And wants to know where to go next. David writes in, he says, Belle Centre Belle in Montreal. Not going to say no. No, actually, I wouldn't say no at all, but we got to be strategic with our planning. And I guess if you guys want to stay in Canada, I'm down for that. I was kind of hoping you would all want to come visit me in South Florida, but maybe that's too selfish on my behalf. Part of the biggest fun with these trips is the planning. I think Neil would agree on that. Oh, on this Mendoza thing isn't going away. Utah Darren writes in and says maybe Mendoza should give Roger Goodell an air high five and hug from Miami. I'm glad, frankly. Biggest thing I'm grateful for today is that we were able to debate this fairly reasonably and not get in a fight about it because, with DeBuck writing in earlier, my good friend from Fort Lauderdale, coaches high school football players at the highest of levels. He's with me. You go to the draft. Others saying, no, he should be able to do what he wants to do. Stay in high school. Yes, thank you, Scott in Vancouver. He just writes that he goes, Mendoza is not to be at the draft. He's doing it via satellite. We've been talking it all show. So you might want to. Kevin Medium is going to be with us tomorrow. We'll see. He'll have some thoughts on this, there ain't no doubt. And Jared Dumba is going to be with us from the famous hockey playing Dumba family to talk about all the exciting races going down in the National Hockey League right now. I think it was Rich Sutter that said here on Monday. Last year, we said it was the greatest stretch drive in the history of the National Hockey League. That was the case till this year. So thank you all for hanging out with us, being patient, giving me things to talk about and conversing with you. Thank you to Captain Lou, producer Corey, and his crew. And we'll be back tickety-boo, up and running tomorrow. Same time, same stations, same bat channels. Until then, take care of yourself, everybody. Thanks for watching the RB Show in Silver State Sports and Streaming.
That